All right, guys, in today's video, I'm gonna be going over a strategy that I implemented a long time ago, which allowed me to triple my commissions. It allowed me to go on and build a 5-year career in high ticket sales. I've brought in multiple 6 figures in commissions for myself personally. I have trained and managed hundreds of closers at this point. And from what I've noticed is that the guys that can really implement what I'm gonna talk about on today's video, the people who can implement this the best are almost always at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the month, okay? And it's a strategy that I call becoming the hunted rather than being the hunter, right? So many salespeople will bend over for their prospect to all of their needs and all of their little whims, and they lose respect on the call. They get walked all over. They don't have the ability to control the sale and control the direction of the conversation, and as a result, they can't control their commissions at the end of the month, okay? So in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing everything that you'll need to know to implement this strategy right away. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about like how I came across this, because it was actually by accident. And then I'm going to be getting really tactical throughout the video, showing you exactly what to implement to your calls so that you can instantly see an effect on your commissions. Let's dive straight in. So first off, I just want you guys to understand something. When I got into sales, I mean, I did some door-to-door in high school, but you know, even when I was doing door-to-door, I was very shy, I was very timid, I was always afraid of rejection. When I got into high-ticket sales at 18, you know, I started because I was motivated and you know, I wanted to make good money, but like it wasn't something that came naturally to me. And especially in my first year of sales, you know, especially as I'm selling, you know, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 packages, I'm getting on the phones with a lot of like dominant personalities, right? My like 18 and 19-year-old self, I'm getting on calls with business owners, salespeople, like people who are way better off than I am, at least at the time. And you know, they have a little bit of an ego to them, right? And what would happen is on these calls is like I would get people who would show up and they would be like, maybe they'd be very dry, right? And they'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just looking into this thing, seems kind of interesting, thought I'd check it out. Right? I'd be like, oh nice, so like what motivated you to check it out? Like what were you hoping to gain from all of this? You know, or like I would have someone who would like start out the call with, oh, listen, man, like why don't we just, you know, kind of cut to the chase here. Tell me about what you guys have to offer and, you know, how much it costs, right? And I would bend over for my prospects. I would just do what they say because, you know, they say that the customer is always right? No. What happened was, you know, I got to this place where it's like I would have people hopping on calls and it's like they would just mess around, right? A lot of people would show up not serious, and you know, it resulted in me just playing the numbers game and just trying to do more and more dials and more work, right? And I'm doing okay, commissions, nothing special. What ended up happening was like I just got fed up with some of these leads just walking all over me and controlling the sale. And what I would start doing is out of pure laziness, right? I would get a guy who would hop on the call, maybe not super serious, or at least he didn't seem like it. Yeah, you know, it seems interesting. I thought I'd take a look and, you know, check it all out. And then out of laziness, I would be like, dude, like why? Like what's the point, man? Like it looks like you're crushing it. Like why is this even important to you right now? Right? And I would do this because I was like, I don't want to put up with this shit again. I don't want to go through an entire sales call just for them at the end, just to give me some think about it, send me an email, never to hear back from them, right? I'm like, man, like why? Like why is this even so important to you, dude? Like what kind of a change is this going to make in your life? Like, man, hey, I want you to know that like getting into, you know, an e-commerce business, which is what I was selling at the time, high ticket e-commerce coaching. Hey, like, you know, building this business, dude, like it's going to be very challenging. There's going to be a lot of roadblocks, a lot of obstacles. It seems like you're doing pretty well from what you're telling me. Like, why is it so important for you to go and build this business? Right? And then what started happening was like me taking that approach, like I was almost trying to disqualify the lead. Right? And what ended up happening was they would start telling me why it was so important to them. They would start justifying to me why they needed to do the thing, right? And then I really owned this approach, especially when I started making more money with it and I started closing these tougher prospects. I really started owning it, and it's really been a core piece of you know, the way that I handle my sales calls now and the way that I train my team on handling their sales calls, okay? So there's a couple different components to this, right? At the end of the day, right, like most salespeople, And this is exactly what I was dealing with. Is like you kind of fear confrontation, right? Is like you don't want to create a problem. You don't want to create tension on a call, right? Someone might say something early on, yeah, just doing some research, just checking everything out, right? Nothing serious. It's like if you're in sales and you hear somebody say that at the start of the call, you know that if you pitch them, that's going to come up at the end. But it's like most people will just avoid it. Most people will hear that and then they'll just dodge it and just keep going with the call rather than addressing it right then and there, right? Most people, when their prospect is being surface level and not really giving you their core motivation, like you'll just keep the call pushing and then pitch them and then just hope for the 2% chance that you're actually going to close, right? And in reality, like you never do. So really the mindset, like what I call this and the way that I see this, your identity on a call is not necessarily to sell somebody, right? Your goal isn't to like, I'm here to close this deal, or at least that shouldn't be your thought process, right? Because that sets the wrong intention, and then now you're going to be weird on your call, and your prospects are going to sniff it out, and they're going to lose trust, right? They're not going to be fully authentic and real with you, leading to bullshit and smokescreen at the end of the call, right? So the way you want to be thinking about this, okay, your identity on a sales call is that you are an expert and you only want to work with people that you are 100% certain that you're going to be able to see results for. If you are not 100% certain, you're ending the call. Right, that's detachment from the sale, which we're going to be talking about here in a second. Right, think of it like a doctor. Right, you are a doctor. You're in your office. This person is walking in seeking your help and your approval. Right, if you walked into a doctor's office and you were like, "Listen, doc, enough of the chit chat. I'm about my business. Let's just get straight to the point. I'm going to need this prescription. Let me know how much it costs." The doctor will look at you like you're on freaking cocaine. Like he's going to say, "Bro, like take a seat. Sit down, let me ask you a few questions, let me diagnose a problem here, and if we can find a solution, I'll share it with you. And if not, then I'll just send you on your way, right?" It's the doctor approach, right? If you hop into a doctor's office and you start trying to control the conversation and control the diagnosis, the doctor's gonna be like, "Dude, like take a seat, be quiet, let me go through my process, and let me see if I can help." Right? The doctor's not going to be all friendly and jolly. The doctor's not going to talk about freaking sports and nonsense and cats and dogs, right? He's going to focus the entire conversation on finding a solution, right? There's a study that was done with a massive group of salespeople. There's a great book out there. It's called The Challenger Sale, right? And they did the study on thousands of salespeople. And what they found was that a good 70-80% of all people in sales, they take the relationship builder approach, right? They hop on calls and they try to be somebody's friend basically, right? "Oh man, I noticed you're based in, Florida. Did you see the hockey game last night? Oh, nice, man. Oh, you have a dog? I have a dog too. That's so cool." Right? Like bullshit like that, right? Most people will take that approach. They'll say, "Oh, how was your weekend? Any plans over the weekend? Anything fun that you got up to?" And it's like both parties know, I don't care about your weekend. I know that I don't care, and you know that I don't care about your weekend. But it's like we're playing this little facade to build a relationship and build rapport, right? It's nonsense, and it doesn't set the frame of you being that expert that I just spoke about, right? And from the study that they did, they found that there was 4 or 5 different types of salespeople and different approaches that they would take. The relationship builder was the most common and the least effective out of all of the 5. And the most effective was the challenger sale approach, right? And what the challenger sale is, it's kind of what I'm describing here, right? It's when you hop on a call with someone and it's like, if you have a friend, for example, right, who's way overweight, as a good friend, you're gonna tell him that. You're gonna be like, "Dude, you're getting fucking fat. What are you doing about this? Do you have a plan set in place to lose weight? Are you just gonna keep eating McDonald's every meal? Or are you gonna make a change here?" Right? That's the kind of friend that you want in your circle, right? The type of friend that pushes you to be better, and that's what the challenger sale approach is, right? It's not running away from tension, but it's introducing tension to get our prospect to step up, to make a change, and then at the end of the call, drop a $10,000, $25,000 investment on the first meeting, swiping their credit card paid in full, right? That's how we're gonna be able to do that consistently. So your prospects, they're not looking for a friend. They're looking for a solution. Sometimes that means being a challenger. Sometimes that means bringing in tension. In almost all cases, actually, right? So let's jump into the approach and exactly how to implement this and some of the different elements of becoming the hunted rather than the hunter, right? Some of the elements of being a challenger salesperson rather than being a relationship builder, right? First things first is calling your prospect out on their BS or limiting beliefs early, okay? And not necessarily in like a super confrontational way, but just addressing certain things, right? So like if, let's say part of your sales process, like one of the first questions a lot of the times that you'll ask is like, hey, so like what motivated you to schedule the call today, right? And then someone might say, oh yeah, just, wanted to see what you guys are all about and what you guys offer. I'd say, okay. And again, play this out to the end of the call. It's like, yeah, I just hopped on this call because I was looking for information. I'm not looking to do anything today. Thanks, send me an email and I'll talk to you later, right? That's what that first 2 minutes, that's a sign that you're gonna be getting that at the end of the call. So, okay, if we get that response, yeah, I just wanted to see what you guys offer and see what you guys actually do. Okay, gotcha. And like, let me ask you, man, do you just like hop on calls with every business out there that's offering something just to find out what they do? Or like, is there a problem that you're trying to solve here? Right? Oh yeah, well like it's actually like this is my problem, right? Okay, cool, I've addressed that, right? I've let my prospect know that like, hey, like weird responses like that like aren't really acceptable, right? If someone says something along the lines of, yeah, I just wanted to see like I had someone recently on a call who applied to work with me. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to see like if there is potential with sales. And I'm like, well, you obviously know that there's potential with sales. That's why we're on this call. I think what you mean is you want to know if there's potential for you in sales, right? Right. Okay, cool. Prospect, let's say you're figuring out, some of their challenges, right? You're asked them, hey, so like what's been stopping you from trying something already? And they say, well, I just haven't really found the time in the past 3 years, right? A lot of salespeople will be like, okay, cool, but like, do you have the time now? Yes, I do. And then they just move the call forward, right? No, that's not really setting our prospect up for success, and that's not really moving the needle forward. I would say, okay, interesting. So it's been 3 years, you've been looking for a solution. I know you mentioned that, you're looking to eventually drop this 9 to 5 that's stopping you from, spending the time with family that you want. You would say that that's a priority, right? Right, okay, so like if it's a priority, like why have you not done anything about it in 3 years? I'm going to challenge my prospect. I'm going to call them out on limiting beliefs or, honestly, frankly, just bullshit that they're telling themselves, right? Because again, my prospect isn't looking for a friend. They're looking for a solution. And as a leader, which is what you are as a salesperson, as a leader, as someone who's going to help this person, we need to go back and look at where this person messed up in the past for them to be able to actually go and get the result that they want, right? And this approach that I'm talking about here, it's not just going to allow you to close more, but it's also going to help people see success, right? It's going to give them a higher likelihood that they see the result they want to see with what you're offering, rather than just giving them like a Band-Aid solution, right? So if you catch something like that, because if you've been on sales calls long enough, you see patterns where if people hop on calls and like they're very surface level, right? They give you 2-word responses because they're all defensive and weird. Sometimes people are like that, right? I might be like, hey, Mr. Prospect, like I would love to kind of like figure out how we can help you here, but I just can't if you're not really willing to open up with me here. Can you give me some more information on that? Right, I will address it immediately, right? Just to let them know, nope, that's not gonna fly. Let's keep the ball rolling here, right? 2, holding our prospect accountable to their goals, right? So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier when it comes to calling them out on certain beliefs, right? So if I have a prospect who says, hey, I wanna, make $100,000 a month, I've sold real estate programs before, right? Say it's like, someone wants to get into real estate flipping, for example, right? And they're like, yeah, like I want to make $100,000 a month flipping real estate in the next few years here. I'd be like, okay, gotcha. And I know you mentioned you haven't done anything, you haven't started yet. You've taken no action on this yet, and we've already addressed that and challenged, sure. I might say, hey, listen, Mr. Prospect, I want you to know something. Like, if you've never done this before, like this is probably going to be one of the hardest things that you've ever done. Like, this is probably going to be one of the most difficult and biggest challenges that you've ever experienced. Do you feel like you're at a place in your life where you're ready for that? Right? I'm going to embrace that tension because I want my prospect to embrace it. Right? If someone says, yeah, like I just don't know. I'm just kind of in a research mode right now. I'm just kind of looking into this whole house flipping thing. I might say something like, hey, and like you understand that it's literally going to be impossible for you to ever achieve anything just watching videos, right? Like at one point or another, you're going to have to take massive action. Like at one point or another, you're going to have to look at uncomfort and uncertainty and embrace it and dive straight into it. And until that happens, it's like you're just going to stay in the same position. You understand that, right? I'm going to introduce some of this stuff because, again, my prospect told me they want to make a change, and if I'm noticing like certain limiting beliefs or certain things that might stop them from making that change, I'm going to call it out in their interest. Right? Another part of this is you want to qualify hard to close easy, right? Again, going back to what I said earlier, if I am not 100% confident that I could help someone see the result that they want to see, I'm not going to offer what I have to them, right? No matter what. Like I'm detached from the outcome. I don't care if I do business with them or not. Right? And that's something that needs to be developed, right? That was going to be my next point, but I'll talk about it right now. Even if you're first getting into sales, it's like the reason why you're struggling, the reason why your commissions are capped is because you're attached to the sale, because you need the sale. You want it on every call and you don't care. You'll sell it. You'll sell whatever it is that you're selling to anybody. And people know that. And that's why people look at you as a salesperson. That's why people don't trust your recommendation. Right? Because they can sniff it out. It's very easy to see, right? So the way that you're going to be able to qualify your prospect properly is by being able to walk away from the table, right? And the only way that you're going to be able to walk away from the table is if you're totally detached from the sale and your intentions are that of, hey, I'm going to help this person no matter what, whether that's working with me or without me. Right? If I can't help them, I'm not going to offer them anything. That's going to give you basically the leverage to be able to qualify them hard, right? So like if I have a prospect, for example, that's, one thing that I see a lot of the times, because I have a sales training program, MC, we train closers and we help them find opportunities in the high ticket sales space. I've had people hop on calls and, they're super successful in sales, or by some people's standards, maybe, maybe they're making 100 grand, 150 grand a year. And like they feel good about themselves, right? Maybe they're the most successful person in their little friend group and they feel like they're the shit, right? And, I can kind of sense a little bit of there's confidence and then there's arrogance, right? There's like being confident in yourself and then there's like saying like, yeah, like I'm the best at this and I don't need anybody to tell me how to do what I do, right? I can't help that person. Right? So like something that I'll say a lot of the times on my calls, if I run into somebody like this, I'll be like, hey, let me ask you, Mr. Prospect, I know you mentioned you got a little bit of experience. Okay, cool. You're bringing in 100 grand a year. One of the biggest things that I've noticed in my program, the people who go on to see the best results, like they are extremely coachable. And I've seen other people in your position who, they've had a little bit of success and then they just close off to any external feedback or taking in any new information. Can I count on you to keep an open mind and to be 100% coachable and to humble yourself a little bit? I might say something like that, right? Because I want to qualify my prospect hard, because if they say, yes, 100%, I'm willing to be coachable. Okay, great. I'm going to be able to close easy, right? If they're really willing to kind of drop their ego for a second, get humble, right? Okay, great. I know I got the sale at the end of the call and I know I can help them. If I say something like that and they're like, well, like, what do you mean? Like, I've achieved X, Y, and Z. Like I'm pretty good. Like I don't really need that much training. If they say something like that, it's like, okay, disqualify, right? I'll be like, okay, listen, yeah. And like, I hear that, man. In that case, if you're so confident, like I'd recommend that you do this on your own because you probably don't need my help, right? Let them off the call, right? I'm willing to walk away from the sale based on certain things, right? If my prospect tells me, hey, I want to make, 10 grand a month. Let's use a different example. Let's say it's, trading, for example. I sold a trading program a few years ago. Let's say they want to be a trader, right? And they're applying for some mentorship. They say, yeah, like I want to make 10 grand a month trading, but I'm working this 10-hour a day job and I have a family as well. So I'll be able to like trade from my phone here and there. I might say, hey, Mr. Prospect, the reason why the people in our program see the results that they do is because they're extremely committed to this. And that's actually why I do these calls, just to make sure that anybody coming in, that they're the right fit. Otherwise, we just kind of don't do it, right? One of the things that I'm going to need from you, man, is that every single day at 9:30 a.m., you're on your laptop in front of your computer. That way we can work with you directly and walk you through today's trading signals, right? Can you find time during those hours? If they can't, then it's like, I don't feel confident that I can help them see results if they're just messing around on their phone on their lunch break. I'm going to disqualify the sale if they can't do that, right? If someone says, like let's say it's something like e-com, right? It's the same thing where it's like if they're working this crazy schedule, they got a family, all of that, you know, I'm not going to sit there and tell them, hey, yeah, no problem. Like you can do this working 30 minutes a day. Right? Because that's lying. That's a Band-Aid solution. And I'm not setting my prospect up for success. And most people, they're not going to believe that. They're going to see through that, right? I'm going to tell my prospect, hey, listen, like I know you're busy right now. I think one of the things that you're going to have to do for you to be able to get the result that you want is like sacrifices are going to need to be made. How can you find at least 2 hours a day where you can get down on your laptop and work on this business? Like, let's come up with a plan here. What do you think you can do? Right, and if they say no, like I don't think I can, then okay, I'm gonna end the sale right there. You know why? Like a lot of people think like, oh really, you would disqualify the sale? Yes, I would, because if they can't find time, if they can't find 2 hours a day, why would I think that they can find 10 grand to spend on this thing if they can't even find a little bit of time, right? So that's the key here, guys, right? It's a couple things. It all starts with detaching from the sale and putting your prospect first. Right? Again, our entire sales process, even the 10-step process that I train all my teams on, it's meant to qualify our prospects so that we can understand and feel confident that we can help them see the result that they want to see. And then if we feel absolutely confident that we can help them, then we present our program to them. And in most cases, and almost all cases, we're closing. Right? If we're not 100% confident, we're not even presenting, right? We're disqualifying the lead, right? So it's detaching from the sale. It's qualifying hard, right? It's holding your prospect accountable to what they're telling you by calling out limiting beliefs or, you know, just bullshit that they've been telling themselves by addressing it and saying like, no, like that's not serving you. And that's not how this call is going to go here, right? By bringing in tension ourselves rather than waiting till the end of the call, right? And then this is going to allow you guys to position yourself as an expert on your calls. This is going to make people trust you more. This is going to help your prospect see better results. And you know what else? Is it's gonna make sales more fun. You know, it's gonna make you really like own your role. And it's like a lot of people burn out in sales because they're not passionate about what they sell. They're not passionate about what they do. And the reason why is because they're focused on the commission, right? It's mission over commission. That's the way that you want to think, right? It is my job. If I'm selling a freaking fitness program, it is my life's mission to change the world by getting people in shape with this fitness program, right? And that's going to keep my spirits high. That's going to keep my mindset where it needs to be. And that's going to allow me to be consistent over time and keep getting better and better because I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking at the mission rather than the commission, right? So guys, like, don't let your prospects walk all over you, right? Be willing to call them out. Be willing to introduce tension. And when you can do this, I mean, everything that I just mentioned, and most importantly, you're going to make way more money when you do it. All right. I hope you guys got value from this. By the way, we had a closer. I have a full hour-long case study of basically how we got someone into sales or into high-ticket sales. He was already working a sales job. He started doing high-ticket sales on the side. And everything I just spoke about was exactly what we implemented with him. This took him from 7 grand a month to, I believe it was like 18, 19 grand a month within 1 or 2 months, right? Just by implementing all of this and role playing it out and getting him really comfortable with bringing in tension on the call and calling out his prospect. He was selling a $5,000 program on a 10% commission, slinging packages, and he was doing really well when he mastered this stuff. So I have a full case study on my channel. I'll link it to this video right here. Highly recommend that you check that out. And I will see you on the next one. You guys take care.